My name is Stephen Haines, and today I'm going to talk about how to leverage product management for organizational success, especially in middle to larger size companies. I'm the founder of Sequent Learning Networks, a company that's focused on product management, business management, and strategy. Former corporate person, financial guy by trade, product guy by heart. I've written 3 industry-defining books about product management, The Product Manager's Desk Reference, which is a go-to resource for anybody in any company, A Product Manager's Survival Guide, which is the book for newer product managers who need to get to be as productive as possible, as fast as possible, and the book Managing Product Management for corporate leaders who need to align around the function and structure of product management in their company. So that leads me to the topic of today's talk: the definition of product management, why it's important, and what can be done. Interestingly enough, about 1.5 or 2 years ago, I noticed a post on LinkedIn. The question was, what is product management? And over the course of weeks, perhaps months, at the time I counted, there were 556 responses. There can't possibly be 556 responses to the question, what is product management? So in essence, product management needs a definition. Now, the definition that is used by corporate leaders in most firms around the world is this: it's the business management of products and portfolios. And they look at business management of products and portfolios across the product life cycles, not just about planning and developing and launching products, or not just about managing current products. It's about managing products from beginning to end. Now, there are some pictures on the screen, and what they are is pictures of broken fences. And you know that no picket fence can ever stand up on its own. And no organization in its functional structure can actually stand up on its own without a very strong back brace of leadership. Now, while this artwork may not be the most attractive on the entire planet, but it really is a representation of functional departments that have to be stood up and integrated. The work that they do needs to be harmonized with everybody else across the company. And this is the job of a product management organization. However, some of the things I found in my research is that we have a lot of different definitions of the term product management. And when we go into a company and we do diagnostics and analysis and other benchmarking, we find a high degree of inconsistency in product management practices across the company. And one of the reasons has to do with the fact that leaders may not be aligned around the role and purpose of product management. When I deliver my workshops, one of the things that we ask people to do is to draw us a picture of a product manager. So over the years, we've collected thousands of these diagrams, and an artist carefully put something together that looked really interesting, that looks at a person who's juggling a lot of different things, and they're on their computers and looking at money and writing plans and being strategic. All those things are important. But what is a product manager? Now, if we look at this definition, we say a product manager is a person appointed to be a proactive product or product line mini business owner. And it says product managers, like general managers, are best equipped to synchronize the organization's gears because they see how it all comes together. That's the integrative capability. Now, over the years, I've had a lot of product managers lament and say, well, we're really not mini business owners, and we're not presidents or CEOs of our product. What we're saying and what we're suggesting is that it's the mindset of the product manager who thinks like a general manager, who believes that they can integrate the work of other people toward a unified whole. That's what the role of a product manager is. Now, it's interesting also about product managers because you don't just come out as a product manager into your first product manager job and be one of these. It takes time. Sometimes it takes many years because ultimately product managers cannot make an appointment with experience. They learn from the situations they encounter, from the mentors who guide them, from the coaches who lead them, and from the customers from whom they learn, and the markets that they monitor. It's a number of different things that helps to create a product manager into the true business manager of a product. But in order to provide a framework for a product manager and even a product management organization, we need a model. Now, there are tons of models, I'm sure, that exist in the world, but there are some very, very simple constructs. And it really can boil down into what W. Edwards Deming said a long time ago in his plan, do, check, and act model, a model that was for continuous improvement. And what we look at is for a product as a business or a company overall is that we need to be able to understand what's going on in the marketplace and to create these characterizations of the industry environment, customers and the customer preferences, competitor and competitive activities. And all of that data needs to be collected at the speed of the market in order to come up with strategies that make the most sense. And when strategies are clear, it's easier for people to understand what kinds of plans we can put into place. How many different product ideas can there be? How do we assess their overall feasibility? How do we define them with product requirements? How do we defend these product ideas with business cases? And then ultimately, when we make the right decisions, how do we make sure that the development organization is doing what they need to do and all the other operating departments are doing what they need to do in order to get the product into the market? And that once the product is in the market, it's managed like a business. And market signals and financial information and other performance indicators are tracked and managed, fed back into the entire discovery and innovation process, and it goes on again and again. It's a continuous improvement model for a product as a business. It's not about a release. It's not about a sprint. It's about running a business. And so the leaders, according to all the benchmarking and research that we've been doing for years and years, look for 6 key elements. They want product managers to be able to have a high degree of business acumen, to see how everything sits together, to be more strategic in how they think about what's going on. It's interesting that some product managers will sometimes say, well, my managers want me to be more strategic, but I'm more tactical. Well, strategy is not the kind of thing you do on Thursday mornings. Strategy is what you're thinking about day in and day out as you're blocking and tackling and processing signals and making sure that you're keeping the ship of the product's business on course. And in order to do something like that, you have to be self-initiating or self-starting. It means sometimes you just can't wait for the orders. You just have to take the bull by the horns and run with it. And sometimes in running with that, you need to know what's going on inside of the organization. You need to know where the landmines are. You need to know how the relationships are built. And ultimately, what it comes down to is setting the pace by being a leader. Well, that's all well and good. But sometimes the product managers don't have everything they need. And the things that they tell me and they tell us in our research is that they need 6 key pieces. They need the market data so they can evaluate what's going on in the market. They need the information and the data about finances and other performance indicators so they can see how well things are going. They need overall tools and resources so they can get better at their jobs. They need to feel some sense of empowerment so they can make ultimate decisions. And sometimes they need the ability to take some risks. In today's environment where business is generally risk averse, we need to have this entrepreneurial characteristic of taking the risks and failing progressively. It's not saying that we want to fail all the time, but we learn from when we fall down, we get up, we brush ourselves off, and we do it again. And the last thing that product managers want to know is, what's next for me? Somewhere between 80 and 90% of the product managers that we survey, and these are thousands of them, don't really understand what they need to do to get promoted. And everybody wants to get promoted if they're doing a good job. So how does it all come together to make for a successful business? How do we use product management? Well, what we need to understand is that there are some ingredients for organizational success, and they fall into these 4 categories: alignment, collaboration, focus, and leadership. We talk about alignment, all right? I think it's one of the most overused words in the corporate vernacular. But in this case, we are suggesting that product leaders and other business leaders need to understand and agree on the function and purpose of product management. And here's what's interesting. If a product manager is expected to influence people in other departments, those people who don't work for them, they can't just do it by brute force. They need they need the support of leaders of the other departments to instruct and guide their employees to work more collaboratively on projects and other things. And you can see how alignment begets collaboration because people are encouraged to work together. But ultimately, no business can be successful if it doesn't focus on markets, on finding out where the problems are, on how to get ahead of the competition, on being an efficient business operator and looking at business results and then winning overall. Everybody wants to play on the winning team, but to play on a winning team, we need leadership. That big picture thinking, shared vision, judgment, decision making, and being action oriented. These are the things that are critical to success. So on this, I thank you very much for paying attention to this slide presentation, and I hope that you'll follow us on Sequent Learning Networks.